I spent 100 days in Minecraft as a shapeshifter. Today, I added vanilla and custom shapeshifts to Minecraft and tried to survive 100 days, which is a very long time. My goal was to kill 3 bosses, the Adjudicator, Blackstone Golem, and the Wither. Using their drops, I can craft a shapeshifter one that lets me transform into any mob I want. Will I survive long enough to craft it? Stay tuned to find out. Here's how this is gonna work. For the first 5 days of my Minecraft world, I shapeshift every single day. But after day 5, the time between shapeshifts increases and the mobs become stronger. And we begin as a custom mob called the Red Fungus. Its abilities include growing plants at the cost of hunger, gaining hunger by standing in sunlight, and only having 2 hearts of health. Let's begin. Okay, I was kind of hoping for something stronger, but I had no time to waste. I immediately broke some wood, made a pickaxe and a shovel, and then mined enough stone for some basic tools. After checking my abilities, I noticed I can infinitely grow plants, so I collected a bunch of seeds and decided to spend some time farming wheat so I had a good food source before I started exploring. As you can see, it took quite a while to regenerate my hunger, and I was getting kind of bored. So after making 5 bread, I decided to make a boat and begin exploring. I sailed for about a minute before finding a shipwreck, which was really lucky, but this wasn't going to be easy because there was an ocean ruin filled with drowned zombies literally merged with the shipwreck. Luckily they were trapped, so I looted the food chest and found carrots and potatoes which I could farm later using my ability. I also found Frostwalker 2 boots and a water protection 3 leather helmet, which is a custom enchant used if I'm a mob that can't go in water, so it would definitely be useful later. The other chest contained a nice amount of iron, some emeralds, and 1 gold, which I was pretty happy about. I ignored the final chest since there were so many drowned and went back on land to continue farming. I knew if I found a village, I could trade carrots and potatoes for emeralds as well as have a really good food source. After a while, I crossed the river and found some new types of berries which actually gave double the hunger as sweet berries, so I collected as many as I could. I also got lucky and found some sheep in that area, so after farming some more, I crafted a bed and slept. Day 2. I woke up and I had shapeshifted into a shark. Its abilities include dealing extra damage underwater, breaking blocks at regular speed underwater, and having 20 hearts. I jumped into the ocean and remembered there was a ruins right next to me. After killing a drowned in 1 hit and celebrating, I saw a trident zombie and immediately decided to take it down. I didn't realize this at first, but it actually dropped its trident, which is insanely lucky. I then easily looted the chests inside of the ruins and managed to get some pretty decent items, including a Lore 3 fishing rod. After swimming for a while, I found an underwater ravine and decided to grab some iron for later. Then I swam past what looked like a pirate ship and found a ruined portal chest that gave me some pretty useful items. I ended day 2 by fishing, which looked kind of cursed, not gonna lie, but all I managed to catch were regular fish, so I slept and moved to the next day. Day 3. I woke up and I had turned into a snow golem. My abilities included melting in hot biomes, taking damage from water, having a powerful snowball cannon, and moving faster on ice. Since I had Frostwalker boots, I decided to cross the ocean and run back to the nice cold taiga biome that I spawned in. Using my flint and steel and snow cannon, I killed some cows to collect leather for an enchantment table. I then came across a villager in the middle of a forest, which was really weird, but only a few blocks away, I found out where he came from. This is a custom building called a villager tower, and it contains 2 chests. One had some food and a crossbow, which is a really good weapon to use. The second chest contained a ton of emeralds, some iron, and even more food, so this is a really lucky find. Since I had so much wheat from farming earlier, I decided to make a composter and turn one of the villagers into a farmer. And after trading all of my wheat, I had 16 emeralds, which would definitely get me something good in a village. I found an iron golem next to the tower, and since I could also use some extra iron, I kind of pummeled it with snowballs. Then after searching some more, I found a jungle, but I was kind of scared to enter it since the temperature might make me melt. So I ran around and entered a plains that contained a village, which was exactly what I was looking for. While running to it, I heard a ton of zombies below me and decided to dig down. And luckily for me, it was actually a spawner, so I killed the zombies with snowballs and checked the chests, which had an insane amount of gunpowder. Afterwards, I entered the village and saw the sun setting, so I slept and woke up as a creeper. This means I can explode, eat gunpowder, and I also have 10 hearts, so this is a pretty good shapeshift. I checked if the iron golem would attack me, and surprisingly he was friendly, so I continued to explore the village, collecting hay bales and looting chests for even more emeralds. I decided to go back to the mob spawner because this shapeshift was perfect for caving. I had a bunch of health and I could explode to kill mobs around me. And by using my second explosion, which breaks blocks, I made it down to Y11 and found a huge cave. And after a couple of seconds, I found my first vein of diamonds, which actually gave me enough to make a diamond pickaxe and an enchantment table. I also collected some redstone in case I wanted to add pistons to my house, and then found some gold, which I used to make a clock so I knew when I'd shapeshift. Lastly, I mined 4 obsidian, made a book, and crafted an enchantment table. By looking at my clock, I could see it was nighttime, so I got into bed, and I woke up as the best shapeshift, the orangutan. My abilities include being able to swing from blocks like a monkey, only being able to sleep on top of tall trees, and having 12 hearts. And guys, before we continue any further, this video took so long to make since these mobs are custom, so if you want to see more content like this and help out the channel, you should definitely subscribe if you're in that 90% who aren't already. We just passed 1 million with only 25 videos, so thank you guys a ton. Now let's speedrun the second. So from now on, until I craft the shapeshifting wand, I change into a random mob every 5 days instead of 1. So I surfaced and headed back to the jungle where I found a temple with some iron and gold inside. I also took the arrows from the dispenser for my crossbow and then continued exploring. The jungle led to a dark oak forest, and after climbing a tree, I noticed something crazy. Not only was there a villager market, but there was also the new custom woodland mansion right in front of me. This seemed like the perfect area to build my base since I could trade with villagers and also get tons of loot from the mansion. I instantly ran over to get a closer look, and it seemed like there weren't any pillagers nearby, so I went inside and started exploring. This place looked absolutely crazy, and it was filled with different themed rooms. After turning a corner, I was attacked by a vindicator. I had barely any armor, so I had to make sure I didn't get hit. I then killed a skeleton and ran forward towards a huge staircase where I ran into an evoker. I instantly sprinted away. I found some bookshelves and started breaking them, but I got swarmed by pillagers. I got insanely low hit, but luckily after blocking up and digging through a wall, I escaped. I decided my best bet was to build a base, make better gear, and wait for a stronger shapeshift. Then I could return and actually loot this place. I found a clearing in the forest between two structures and decided that this cliff was a good place to build my house. So I chopped a couple stacks of logs and got to work. The last time I built a house in Minecraft was when I was 13, so just a heads up, this might not be the greatest. After completing the front of the house, I decided to collect some clay and replace the cobblestone with terracotta. I found out that I can make terracotta stairs in this mod pack too, but they kinda glitched in the replay. But as you can see, I finished the exterior of my cliffside house, and I think it was looking pretty good. I wanted to go for an underground jungle theme inside, so I placed some leaves and planned on expanding the house later. But my plans got kind of thrown into the air when I reached day 10 because I shapeshifted into another custom mob called the Summoner. This was the type of powerful combat shapeshift that I had been waiting for. Its abilities include firing an explosive wither skull, shooting a barrage of arrows, every hostile mob being friendly, and being vegetarian for some reason. I first made an adjustment to the door because I was so tall, built a fence around the front to stop mobs getting in, and made a full set of enchanted iron gear so that I was ready to raid the mansion. I went to test my new powers on nearby mobs and found a tiny orc which dropped a lead, so I put that in my chest. And without wasting any more time, my attack on the mansion begun. I went inside and looted my first chest, which had an enchanted crossbow. I didn't want to attack any pillagers until I absolutely had to, so I continued exploring passively. Then I made it back to the staircase that almost killed me when I was an orangutan. I found an evoker and decided that now was the time to strike. I picked up the totem, and after a long fight with the Vexes, I continued down the staircase. I reached the bottom and found what looked like an underground prison, and it contained some chests with some iron and gold. But after turning a corner, I found something insane. There was what looked like a pillager priest levitating in the middle of the room. So I did what anyone would do. I punched him, and there was a boss bar at the top of my screen. This boss is called the Adjudicator, and he was not going to be easy to kill. He started summoning teeth from the ground, and after I got some crits on him, he teleported away. He then summoned in a stone golem that was shooting me with a crossbow. So I decided to melee it and take it down. I got some more crits, and he teleported to the other side of the room. He then spawned in Vindicators, Vexes, and equipped an axe. My health got shredded away in a matter of seconds. I decided to retreat and block up the exit. There were still Vexes on me, so I quickly got out my shield. But as soon as I lowered it, I was attacked, and unfortunately, it activated my totem. I got some more melee hits and ran back in, but he summoned a Ravager, so I backed up and used both of my abilities. I tried bowling him, but he was immune to arrows, but eventually the Ravager despawned, so I ran back in and got some more hits. I got down to 1 heart, and knew that if I died, it would be almost impossible to get my items back. I had to go into tryhard mode. I got 2 more direct hits with my ability, fired my crossbow, and finally finished him with my sword. I then cautiously took out the Vexes and was left on 1 heart with no food. I didn't realize this at first, but this is the boss that drops the key item in the Shapeshifter Wand recipe, the Enchanted Totem. Look at this thing, dude. I released the Adjudicator's pet owl, but I couldn't figure out how to tame it, so I decided to come back another time. When I went back upstairs, I made sure not to attack any more pillagers, and after exploring the upper floor of the mansion, I found some melon and gained my health back. I then left the mansion and found another evoker ochre, so I killed that for an extra totem. I then walked to the nearby village and decided to spend a day mining hay bales and trading with villagers to get as many emeralds as possible. I planned on using these later to trade some mending books so that I could repair my trident, and also ender pearls because I could get any type of villager from the villager market near my base. In total I got 16 emeralds, which was definitely good, and then I finished day 15 by collecting some logs and leaves so that I had enough materials to finish my house. When it became nighttime I slept, and my shapeshift turned into a toad. This means that my abilities now include being able to leap like a frog, not taking full damage whatsoever, and having a permanent luck potion effect. While running back towards my base, I found a ruined portal that had some iron nuggets which would be helpful towards making an anvil. I then grabbed all of the emeralds that I collected and headed towards the villager market that was near my base. Since I had a trident, I planned on trading for a mending book so that I could prepare it and use it as my main weapon. When I got there, I placed down a lectern and immediately got a multi-shot book, which was tempting, but it wasn't what I needed. I decided to spend some emeralds trading up the cleric because he could trade me ender pearls later on and buy my gold. This used almost all of my emeralds, but I could trade sticks to the Fletcher if I needed more later. I went back to my house and grabbed some gold so that I could trade it to the cleric for even more emeralds. And for anyone who doesn't know, breaking and placing the villager work blocks randomizes their trades, so I continued resetting the librarian until I eventually got a loyalty book trade, which I actually decided to do since it was only 7 emeralds. I did need a second book though, so I broke some trees and traded sticks for emeralds and then bought a second loyalty book so that I could make loyalty 3. I then traded a bunch of clay for emeralds, and a new librarian traded me a channeling book, which is a lightning enchantment for a trident, so I had to get that as well. I then spent 3 entire days breaking and placing the lectern until I eventually gave up because these villagers just wouldn't give me mending. So my plan was to try and get it through enchanting instead. I then spent day 20 expanding my base so that I had an enchanting room, sleeping area, and storage space. After that was